press the bell icon on the YouTube app to never miss a video from Newslaundry.
This is a Newslaundry podcast and you're listening to Highway on my podcast with Rocky, Mayur and Abhinandan.
We're back!
We're hungry!
And we're back on Highway on my podcast with the two biggest men in Indian food and travel. Also with us, Prashant Sareen. Hello, Prashant.
Hi.
You were not here for the Nagaland episode because you did not come with us to Nagaland. And the reason I gave to our audience was that your family said we refuse to let our beloved Prashant go for like a 24-day trip. And Rocky and Mayur's household said, please take them. And if you can, don't get them back. I'm Abhinandan and we will be taking you across Tamil Nadu, my motherland, where my mother is from. So it is special for me for that reason, just like Punjab was for another reason. So where all will we going, Rocky and Mayur? Where across Tamil Nadu will we be driving?
So today we're going to try to cover Chennai, Dindigul, Pondicherry, Udagamandalam, Kodaikanal, Madurai, and a place where you find halwa,
Tirunelveli. That is where my mother is from. So that's the only reason we will go there. But
No wonder you're so sweet. I mean, Nandan, you're from Tirunelveli, where the Habshi halwa is from, or the Karachi halwa.
Yeah, it's not Karachi halwa. That was elsewhere. We will get there also at some point. So why don't we start? Prashant, why don't you start for a change and tell us your driving experience of Chennai and Madurai and the rest, and when you got arrested and put the shoot into jeopardy at the Meenakshi temple.
Driving is a pleasure in the South. You know, it's everyone knows the rules and they just follow the rules. It's just in their DNA. Just like in the DNA of the North Indian, it's always कि अच्छा left से जाना है तो वो right से जाएगा. You know,
as long as you're the only one breaking the laws, you're very happy with it.
Yeah, absolutely. But we are very careful. When we were driving, we were very careful. After all, I was driving superstars sitting in the vehicle and a star director in the front, so I had to be careful.
But of course,
and the budget didn't allow for any medication except for a band-aid.
And I would have had to pay challan myself. You're absolutely right. I would have had to pay challan myself. No budget for that in the production. Budget.
If you had banged the car and our heads would have been cut off, you would have put one band-aid on Mayur's head and one on mine and put us back to
we would
work.
have had to share.
No, dude.
Two band-aids is the rich people show, the one with the other chef. We would have had to share.
We would have cut the band-aid in half and said, ye aadha tera, ye aadha tera.
In the medicine box, we had only 2 band-aids, one for the 2 of you and one for the others.
Now, apparently back then, you weren't allowed to shoot at you still probably aren't, at the Meenakshi temple, which is a stunningly beautiful temple. And Prashant was there shooting, and then someone came up to you and said, what?
In all honesty, I didn't know, that you were not allowed. I mean, why would somebody not allow? I don't know, what is it?
It's not like you were inside, you were outside.
Outside, exactly. In that periphery that they have, that little area that they have outside the temple complex. And they would just stop you. I really wonder why Hindu temples are so, tense about a camera. What is it? What is it really about a camera? You go into any masjid, you go into any they don't mind cameras. They're happy. Even you can take cameras into the Vatican, for all you care, for all they care. So I don't know why this is the case, but anyways, this guy from obviously the temple administration, he came and he pushed me a little and he said that no camera here, no camera. So I mean, it's just like from when you're from Delhi, you're just used to aggressive people. So I leaned into him a little. And I said,
slightly. I don't know how his nose was bleeding afterwards.
So
you leaned into him. He leaned into you. There was a moment, eye to eye. And the lovely smell of the Mallipu flower. Then he said, sir.
Then all of a sudden he took his nose and he hit it into your fist really hard 3 times.
Nothing like that. But then he cleared off. But he went and obviously reported me to the police station, which is right next to the Madurai temple, the Meenakshi temple. And then like good people from Delhi, you pull strings and you get by. Which is exactly what we did, to cut a long story short.
The police didn't arrest you and beat you in the police station?
No, they were very decent. I mean, they talked very civil. Very civil.
Once you've been from Delhi and UP, then all cops are lovely.
Yeah.
Now, Rocky, why don't you start by busting the myth that all people in Chennai are like my mother's family and veggie? bust it properly like a Sardar can.
That was a
I don't have
revelation.
to bust it, man. Chennai, I mean, the whole of Tamil Nadu is on the coast. Chennai has beautiful beaches, thousands, hundreds of thousands of tons of fresh fish lands all across the coast of Tamil Nadu. Every day is consumed. Hundreds and thousands of goats and sheep walk down from different areas in the center of Tamil Nadu down the hills and are consumed every day. Hundreds and thousands of larger animals are eaten all across. I mean, if anybody loves their non-vegetarian food, it's the Tamils and the people from Andhra. These two people really enjoy their meat. And what a party it is in Tamil Nadu anywhere. I mean, anywhere you go, the non-vegetarian food is totally fantastic. And for example, that Anjappar place, I don't know if you guys remember this, really nice restaurant chain. Those days it used to be the big one.
Ajappa, where? Tamil, this is in Chennai?
In Chennai.
Okay.
Yeah.
TT Nagar or some place we had gone to that one. Right?
There are so many other, there are a lot of new chains now that have very, very good food. But in those days, Anjappar used to be the big dog. And, I mean, the crabs, the Nand curry, I think it was. Nand is crab, I think, as far as I know. And listen, please, all of you listening out there, please forgive us for the accents. We are from the north. Our accent is bad. Our Tamil accent is bad. Our Malayali accent is bad. Our Kashmiri accent is bad. Our Haryanvi accent is bad.
Even our Hindi accent is bad.
Even our Hindi accent is bad.
Our English accent is bad.
English की तो बात ही मत करो.
वो तो छोड़ ही दो.
But still, if you know what we've been doing to English names, you'd be very proud of us listening to our Tamil. It's much better than our English. But people eat a lot of meat in Tamil Nadu. I mean, they love it. And it is fantastic. And every evening, you'll see all the kebab and the non-vegetarian places are absolutely chock-a-block. After people have had a couple of drinks, they're out partying. And, it's a nice place to be in the evenings, especially Chennai.
They also like to drink, which was another big revelation. I mean, you just think South Indian hai, to mellow hoga yaar ye.
Oh, dude, the kind of drink. Prashant, why go far? Let's start with our own cameraman, Choku.
Oh, yeah. My God. He could pack
But
it.
I would like to make a special mention before we move on. And Mayur, please tell us about the breakfast, because my favorite breakfasts are in Tamil Nadu. I think it is the most healthy, filling. After that breakfast, I didn't have to eat anything all day other than Britannia cakes. And if I didn't even eat dinner, it was fine. I would like to talk about Hari. Hari was part of our crew who was also driving us there. He was the local driver because Prashant was driving one car. Hari was driving the other. Many of you Homp supporters, I think it was the tsunami when Hari's whole thing got destroyed, his cars and his home. So when the first time we went to Tamil Nadu, Hari was a driver for somebody and he had come as the driver of that car. By the time we went there, the last time, Hari had 3 of his own cars. He's an amazing guy. He is a hardworking guy, and which is why he strikes out. I mean, he stands apart. And also some drivers we had in Punjab and Haryana. I don't want to get into too much bitching because I already said that the Assam and Karnataka really need to step up their game as far as wanting to reach anywhere and working hard is concerned. But Hari was bright, smart, hardworking, intelligent, and everything got wiped out. It was a tsunami, right? When
I think so, yes. We did a fundraiser for him.
And we did a fundraiser for him. We put it on Facebook, and a lot of you Highway on My Plate watchers, I put up photographs of Hari that this is the guy. He's taken us all across the south, starting from Chennai, all across Kerala, Andhra. And you guys contributed and rebuilt his life. We got both his vehicles back. We raised enough money for him to put it back. That is what a community can do. And that is all a community of people who are hardcore hompers. And we put it out there. The 4 of us and many of you put Hari's life back on track. Now, before I move on from Hari, just want to tell you one thing. Hari was not interested in what we were eating or what we were shooting. Every time he got into the car, and the later times when he was in the car and Rocky, Mayur and I were in the car, he would say, "Niku sir, why you not get married, sir?" And he was very excited that my mother was Tamil. So he'd start talking to me in Tamil. I'd say, "I don't know Tamil." So tell Amma, sir, you're already married. Rocky would say, "Hari sir, Niku sir like boy. You cannot get married. If you know nice boy, get boy." And here's Hari. "No problem, sir. I am not judge, sir. I am not judge. What you like, sir, we will get. Amma happy, I happy, sir." What an amazing guy Hari is, man. Wherever he is, God bless him. He's taken us all across. So, Mayo, sorry, go ahead. Now with the food.
Yeah, just very quickly back to what Rocky was saying. So, in Anjappar, they had the Netli fish, they had the Nand, like Rocky said, they had Kadhai, Quail. So, yeah, Tamil Nadu, they're very democratic also. They'll eat almost anything.
But Mayo, tell us about the bloody breakfasts, man. The
Oh,
Tamil
yeah,
breakfasts,
man.
they're the best breakfasts around.
Murugan idli.
Up there with the Gujaratis.
By far.
Murugan
By
idli.
far.
They have multiple branches, including I think one in Singapore, but the one we went to was in T Nagar, and I remember the first time we went there. Because now it's like our place of pilgrimage. You cannot go to Chennai without going to Murugan idli. But the first time we went, very small, narrow-looking entrance, and we climbed in. Small place, quite simple, quite basic, very quick service, but the food when it came out. And what really stands out in my mind was how soft and fluffy those idlis were. And secondly, the whole range of chutneys they had. They had a whole bunch of different chutneys. They had the tomato garlic, they had the chili garlic, then they had a coconut, they had the podi, and they had a fifth chutney. And I mean, even while you're waiting for the idli and the dosa to come, you can just lick that chutney up and make a whole meal out of it. Yeah.
In fact, Tamil Nadu and Chennai is another place where we've gone several times. So we've been to more than one of these Murugan idlis. But I will say this, before we went there and I'd heard Murugan idli, I had the same skepticism as I did about dahi balla. How special can an idli be? I've grown up, idlis are made at home whenever a cousin or, uncle or aunt, there was any event, there would be stuff made. But it truly is a spectacular idli. There is no doubt about it.
Yeah, but I have to say this, in the old days, the owner used to sit there, the ambience used to be beautiful. There was agarbatti, it was clean. Every guy was supposed to clean really well. And the food was totally brilliant. As we've been going over the years, the quality has fallen. I mean, let's face it. Because now they've got about 20 outlets, I think, just in Chennai, not to mention all over the world. I don't know where all they are. But so that has gone down, and that's a pity because the first time we went, I mean, those were like dream idlis. Yeah, I don't even like idli that much. I prefer dosa and vada, and that's all I eat. But the idlis were incredible. They've really
and even
changed.
now, and the last time we went, at least the last time we went together, there was the plastic plates and stuff. That experience was not the same as the first time. Yeah.
And that's happened with a bunch of places. The first time we went, we ate at Ponnuswamy, if you remember. And that time they had, they had the crab, they had the quail, they had a rabbit. And Rocky declared it as one of the best meals that he'd had on Highway on My Plate so far. Yes. And then the second time we went around, already the standards at Ponnuswamy had dropped a lot. We found the same challenge with Anjappar also.
Yeah, but I mean, Ponnuswamy at one point, I mean, it had been a legend for so long. Yeah. Anybody you spoke to in Chennai and said, we really want to try some non-vegetarian food, they would just, no questions asked, Ponnuswamy. And we went there and there was a crowd outside. I mean, you couldn't even walk in. It was mad and it was just so good. I mean, everything. You had to wait to be seated. There was a ground floor, which was mad. I don't know if you remember, but we couldn't even get the cameras through. And then we finally had to go to the first floor to sort of shoot there.
Yeah, Prashant, did you eat there? I mean, I remember I enjoyed
the I remember Ponnuswamy very well, as also Anjappar. Both were just outstanding. And of course, the idli at Murugan was fantastic, but also this Karpagambal mess that we had gone to. So that temple it's right next to a temple. Very tiny place, family run. And I mean, they obviously took the food really seriously there, right?
Before we leave Ponnuswamy, let us at least mention the really special soft shell crab you have there. Yeah? I mean, you've still got to try that because that I know is still as good.
Crew members
the quails are very nice.
Only anchors ate crabs. Crew members
it was an expensive place. The bill was like 100 rupees.
Only ate chicken neck.
There was a chicken Colombo, I remember.
Off your face.
Oh, yeah.
No problem, sir. I know judge. Happy, Rocky happy, Prashant happy, I happy.
Yes.
But Prashant, finish your thought about this mess, this Karpagallam mess.
Yeah, so
I don't remember. I don't think I was there for this one.
I think you were. But anyways, it was a very small, very humble looking place, but exquisite food and served with great level of, it's like, this is our food. You will, sit down at the table properly and eat it. It was not like, okay, lelo khalo type of place. And like when you go to Murugan, it's a fast food place, literally. Like you sit down, they quickly serve you, you eat, you get out and all that. But this is a place where you go and there were old timers sitting there and just sipping their coffee and all. And I remember the gentleman, Mayur, do you remember? He gave us a whole lecture on the whole politics of Tamil Nadu.
Yeah,
he spoke about how the Brahmin cuisine was and is and all of that sort of stuff he got into. I don't remember the details of that, but it was really interesting to just hear him. I mean, he was speaking from the heart and very, very, very articulate. And he had so much to say, not just about the food, but also about the culture around that food, which was an education in itself. Yeah.
Yeah, he mentioned, I remember very specifically, and we wrote it down in our book also. They had that suji appam, which is very traditional food made specially for son-in-laws in Thanjavur Brahmin households.
Nice.
And then he was doing different things. He had badam halwa and gajar halwa. And then a lot of the foods he said he was working on, which would have medicinal properties. So he was tapping into, again, ancient Tamil literature to find out. But the winners for us at that time were the badam halwa. And then we had this podi dosa.
Yeah.
Gunpowder, and then we had a very thick breakfast dosa. That was our first introduction, or at least my first introduction to the really thick dosas, the kal dosa he called it. We even used it in our food court.
Right. And it was a blink and miss kind of place because it was so tiny, and I think it took us a little while to find the place exactly.
Yeah.
But when we
it did. And Prabhu Das, Prabhu Das was a really sort of hesitant young man who had just taken over the reins of the business from his father. And he was really sort of, very excited, very enthused about what he's putting out there in his grandmother's cuisine and pure Brahmin cuisine from that region. And, he kept telling us all these stories. But as we've gone back over the years, he's gained so much confidence and his food remains just as good here. So, hats off to young Prabhu Das. I mean, Prashant, I remember you telling him here that if you keep serving food like this, you're going to go places. And, his food is just brilliant.
Choti mein badi baat.
So I'm surprised that Prashant was listening to some political discourse while eating. Usually he doesn't even listen to, can you pass the salt? But chalo theek hai, aisa bhi log bolta hai to manna padta hai.
So this was all over coffee.
Okay.
It was all...
The food was done, yeah. Because I would advise him.
Yeah.
So Rocky, please continue with, there's a Madras crocodile farm that Mayur has put on the menu. This is the one on the highway. This is not in Chennai, right? There was somewhere on the highway.
It was on the highway.
I remember that.
East Coast Road.
Yeah.
Either we were coming from Pondicherry or we were going to Pondicherry, and then we stopped at this dhaba, and the food was very, 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 very plain. Wasn't anything spectacular. It had that green agricultural netting on top.
But
what
it was
was really interesting
evening.
was all the side shows going on outside. They had that guy who wanted to tell your future with the parrot that went and picked up cards.
Yes, we did that. I remember the weather was great. It was a beautiful evening, just about sunset.
Yeah.
And we had just had an exhausting day. Chennai has amongst the worst weather to shoot bloody anywhere. Rocky's shirt would get wet in 5 seconds of stepping out to do piece to camera. But we can just hang out with the stars on the beach. And then I want to get to Dindigul, which is famed as having one of the best biryanis in the country, by the way. So we will get Rocky and Prashant's lowdown on that. So now, what are the stars on the beach at Chennai, Mayur?
Arey yaar, bhul gaya. Rocky bhaiya, yaad dilao.
It's those large cutouts of all these actors. Remember? And they're like life-size. This is obviously a state which is obsessed with its stars, right?
Yeah, man.
When you see politicians and stars cutouts on the street side, which are like 3 stories high.
Yeah,
You
man.
never see any of those kind of billboards anywhere else in the country.
And not a single wall. In fact, we said at one stage, we were like, if anybody can send us a photograph of even a single wall in Tamil Nadu, which is not covered by posters of either politicians or film stars. And then Rocky said, what are you going to do? And I said, we'll eat the wall. He's like, yeah, okay, fine. We'll eat the wall.
But
we were like so confident that you cannot find a thing because they love their politicians.
Mayur and Rocky on either side of Rajinikanth with their hands around the shoulder. Like, where can it happen other than Chennai? On the Marina Beach.
On Marina Beach.
The Marina Beach is in fact famous. Yeah, they have cutouts of almost all the big stars, north, south. They're sort of very democratic about it. All Indian stars, and of course, I was with the Rajnikant, the Dilliwala, and Mayur was with Kamal Hassan on the other side, and we got some great photos. Yeah, and there was assorted actors and actresses all around us. So we sort of pretended to blend in with our dark glasses and took pictures.
Mayur was leaning more towards the actresses, while you.
Yeah.
Well, Rocky sir, I not judge, but
I know.
So let's move from Chennai again, guys. I'm going to apologize to you right at the outset. We will be missing out a lot of places, just like we did in Uttar Pradesh. And in fact, those of you who have received the Uttar Pradesh newsletter will be wondering that where are the photographs of all the other places? We've sent you the images of Mathura ka Peda and that place where monkeys snatch your glasses, because we didn't talk much about it. So we thought we'd put that there. But we will come out with further newsletters as we go down, because there's so many photographs to sift through, where you will get photographs of every place we've spoken about, and some even more. Some stunning pictures that have been clicked by the lovely Prashant and Rocky. So we will miss out a lot of places in Tamil Nadu, but it's one of those places we've been there several times. You can't pack it into a 1-hour episode. But Dindigul, Prashant, come in. Dindigul, I'm quite certain I didn't come to this. There's just the Dindigul shoot.
No, you
But
didn't.
it is considered one of the best biryanis in the country. And
It is considered one of the best biryanis in the country. In fact, it is considered to be like the fountainhead of biryani in the country. Right?
And were you impressed?
Story correctly, Mayur, Rocky, just correct me. Wasn't there the story about this fellow who had come in and he was a trader who
Persia via Afghanistan into there. But basically, at the time of Hyder Ali, they credit Hyder Ali with having brought the biryani into that part of India.
But so is it that good? Is it as good?
I mean,
it was
now
good.
It's so good that now they have a chain called the Dindigul Talapakatti restaurants in Chennai, where you can get Dindigul biryani everywhere. But it's a kind of biryani, like Hyderabadi biryani or Kolkata biryani. There is also Dindigul biryani. And we went down to a place that really served a very, very good one, by the way. And it was quite spectacular. So the guys we went to at Pondrom Biryani, they were way ahead of their time. I mean, I remember they were cooking with mineral water at that point. They had servers with gloves on their hands and, sort of caps on their heads.
They knew COVID would be coming up.
No, I mean, brilliant hygiene standards. And now, of course, Dindigul biryani has always been famous. And we went down to Dindigul. And I don't know if you guys remember that big Dindigul rock that overlooks the entire town here. Huge rock formation.
Where the fort is, yes.
Town. Yeah.
And it was spicy. What I remember about that biryani was it was very spicy. It was very spicy.
Yeah, and they used the short grain rice, and then the aromatic spices.
Which looks like
and they do a pakka biryani. I remember one of you guys asking them. So they actually did the cooking of the meat and then added it to the rice. And then they covered it with the atta and they cooked it from top and below. But yeah, I don't know whether it's the rice or the style of cooking or their spice blend, but it was very different from what you usually would think of as a traditional biryani.
Yeah, it was like a dumb style. Like they would place hot coal on, they would seal it and then put hot coal on top of the lids. I think we went into the kitchen and saw something also at the back.
Yeah, no, we did shoot. We shot in the kitchen, but there are basically, two kinds of biryani. One is the kachi biryani and one is the pakki biryani. And the kachi biryani is where all raw ingredients go into a pot and they're cooked. And the pakki is where the meat is cooked separately, the rice is put down separately, and the cooked meat is added to the rice, and then it's sort of cooked finally together. So they do the pakki version of the biryani. But it's the spices, it's the kind of spices they use and the methods they use there that makes Dindigul biryani unique. So it is, even their pachadi, the raita that they have, which is just brilliant. I've tried to recreate even the raita, but I can't get that taste right. It was so brilliant.
It was.
They had other stuff also, mutta curry, dalcha, with the dal with the mutton. Then the mutta curry, the keema mixed with the egg.
So, तूने खाया क्या वहाँ यार? By the way, Mayur, keema, dalcha, mutton.
उनके पास vegetarian version था.
अच्छा.
Biryani का, aka pulao.
Pulao.
ठीक है. So before we move from Dindigul, thank you guys for the love. The mails are coming in. You guys are sharing your stories and your support. Thank you. Please keep it coming. Write to hom2020@gmail.com. I repeat, hom2020@gmail.com. with your food stories, with the photographs some of you have shared, which I'm going to talk about in this podcast. For our newsletter, if you want to be a part of the newsletter, so you can get the visual references and some anecdotes and behind the scenes action of all that you speak about, there's a link wherever you listen to this podcast. If you click on that link, a form opens out, you put in your email ID, etc., and you will be enrolled and you will have signed in for the newsletter, or you could even write to hom2020@gmail.com. So please do that. Keep the love coming in. This email comes from Odisha. He says, hello, Rocky, Mayur, Niku, and guests. As a late 90s born kid with no cable TV connection at home, I still managed to remember Homp scenes from when I was at some relative's house or some waiting lounge. Yes, it was impactful, binged on episodes on YouTube after discovering the podcast. Would love to be a part of it as it rolls whenever it does. Lots of love from Odisha. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for the love. We shall definitely keep you in mind and we shall let you know when we're heading to Odisha. And in fact, wait for our Odisha episode. One of my favorite mutton curries is in a small restaurant there. But yes, more about that when you get to Odisha. And one more quick mail. Hompers, it's such a joy to listen to your podcast episodes. I love how personal they are. I've been so fond of all of you from the NDTV Good Times days. Abhinandan from Newslaundry. I had the pleasure to meet Mayur once at the black market here in Panjim, which was fun. This is Shaurya Vadwa, Mayur. He says he met you at the Panjim market.
Hi, Shaurya. No, in Panjim, there's a place called Black Market. It's actually a restaurant.
Oh, I see.
Started by Prahlad and Sabreen, who also own the Black Sheep Bistro. Black Sheep Bistro is a great favorite of Rocky's and mine.
I hope to cross paths with Rocky and Abhinandan as well someday soon. Do reach out if you're ever. So you'll meet us both if you're ever in the lockup here in Delhi. So I can't promise you'll meet us at some fancy restaurant.
Also, it's not that I'm classist, but you'll probably meet me at the White Sheep Bistro or the White Market. I kind of hang at the cooler places.
I still go back and watch old episodes of Jai Hind and Hom. I'm definitely going to buy both the editions of your book. Keep up the amazing work and lots of love. Please include me in the newsletter where I can access photos and behind the scenes. My warmest. Thanks, Shaurya.
Guys, thank you for writing in. I really appreciate all your emails. We love reading them and we go through each one. But I just want to point out over here that, a really great show like this, a memorable show that makes such an impact is not just because of Mayur and my faces in front, even though we will take most of the credit. But there's some guys who contribute a little bit in the back, like Prashant and Niku and the sort of, and just the sort of energy they're able to create. And the crew, I mean, every member of the crew was a real character, and we'd worked together for so long. We were just 10 boys, 10 men out on the road, having fun, behaving badly, enjoying ourselves, doing things, just looking inwards and just exploring the joy that we could create with travel and food and exploring India. And I think that's the important thing. There was no agenda. There was nothing to say to anyone. It was just out on the road having fun. And, for that, Prashant and Niku and just the whole gang at Small Screen, our editors, everybody needs a shout out. So it was a great team.
Hey,
and,
thanks, Rock.
Hey, you're welcome. Without great team,
That's my
nothing
shout-out.
happens. Yeah. So that's why no other great shows have come after that anywhere on television, because this kind of team hasn't been assembled again.
There is no iron possible.
But
There is an iron possible.
There is.
Not if you speak English like we do. He bhi chalega.
And it's optional. We speak English like people in UP drive.
Yeah.
It's optional. So
but there is no I in possible. Possible mein nahi hai.
But we will get out on the road again once this lockdown is behind us and this crisis has been overcome. This team shall be back doing what we love doing, and now we value it even more. But until we can do that and you can't get to the highway, we will bring the highway to you. So do give us a high rating wherever you listen to this podcast, whichever platform. If you give us a favorable review or a good star rating, the likelihood of others finding us is increased. So may I please request you to do that. So where are we going next, boys? Tell me.
Pondi.
Dude, where's Karaikadi where is this whole Chettinad area in this?
Now, all this we're going to do in the next
gonna do
episode. What
another
we
one?
did on
Okay.
Highway on My Plate, coast to coast,
Okay,
we figured
cool.
most of those
That'll be
we'll
great,
do then.
Because Chettinad event, we won't be covering Chettinad in this one, although we had a fantastic shoot there, but we just don't have the time because we ate at so many places. But Pondi, go. Mayo, you love Pondi because you are so French. Oui?
Well, actually, I wasn't the French. My fondest memories of Pondicherry on boat trips, whether it was breakfast at that place called the Satsanga, where we had the omelets and bacon and the nice the croissant and stuff, and at 221 Baker Street, which was the bakery place where we had a lot of quiches and croissant and stuff. In both places, what was characterized was Rocky speaking Punjabi with a French accent.
Yes, I remember.
He was actually speaking Punjabi, but he was doing it the way a Frenchman would do it. Rocky, you want to give us a demonstration?
Instead of ooh, they're saying oe.
I have no inspiration, but it was like
Niku, take your clothes off. He needs inspiration.
No, please don't. That is not inspiration. That is devastation. It was like थोड़ा हाल चल की जाए बहुत सोने लगे तो मिल के monsieur
But I love that breakfast, Mayo. Yes, you just reminded me. It was a really fancy looking place, and once you stepped inside, you didn't feel you were having a breakfast in an Indian joint, because I think one of the people who was serving us was also not Indian, right?
No, it was a French gentleman. He came, and Rocky was deliberately mangling the French names, and I think he got quite huffy about it. And we had a big laugh there because we'd heard that this was... So outside we built it up. We said, this is the place to come to. Every traveler comes here. It's packed, people climbing over each other. And then the shot opened because we'd gone in a little late and it was off-sea. It was khali. We were like the only table sitting there. We were like,
It's a pretty large place. It's a pretty large place, and
Yeah,
they've
it was
got
very-
sitting outside and all, very nice green.
it was a very large place.
Yeah, but lovely food, lovely.
They didn't have
Yeah,
enough
and
bacon
we-
to satisfy Rocky though.
we had also apologized in advance for what we were going to do to the French language, what they had been doing to Tamil for hundreds of years.
We did French in one afternoon.
It was a chance to get revenge for all Tamils behalves. I mean, listen, Niku, if Tamil is your mother's mother tongue, then it is your grandmother tongue. So how dare they insult your grandmother tongue for 300 years?
Absolutely.
We got revenge in one day.
In one day.
But it has changed. You know, we went back there in 2018 in the winter. Mayur and I went back in. We were shooting a new season of On My Plate, which unfortunately hasn't been able to make it to the air yet for some reason. But it's changed so much. I mean, I remember Pierre. Pierre was the owner. He was this large French guy who had been living there for so long. And I said, why satsang? And he was like, why do you call your restaurant satsang? And he was like, because the whole world is like a satsang. It is, we are all together. We are one. He was a really philosophical French guy. And it was quite beautiful. But now, caught up with the rest of the world, you know, it's built up. It's fast. There are some snazzy restaurants. You'll get sushi and you'll get state-of-the-art food and great bars. And so it's really changed.
Yeah, in fact, even the first time around, we went to this very fancy place called the Rendezvous. It was 2 levels, you know, and remember the owner was a big fan of ours and a really big fan of ours. I think he must have been, 250 kilos. Do you guys remember? We have a photograph of Rocky and I flanking him.
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah, and they had this beautiful, they had coq au vin. They had a really nice, fancy French wine list, better than most restaurants in Delhi and Bombay had at that time. This guy had. Rocky loved his pork chops. And I mean, that was a guy who was so passionate about his food. His chef came out to talk to every table. And then you remember how excited he was. Unfortunately, he passed, I believe.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Prashant, what is your memories of Pondi? Did you enjoy it?
I think one of the most delightful and the most beautiful cafes to go to anywhere in the world probably is the one on the promenade in Pondi.
Correct.
It's open 24 hours, so you can wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go there for your cup of coffee, or 6 o'clock and watch the sunrise. It is so beautiful. The coffee is nice. It's average, but it's beautiful. The setting is nice. You can just sit for as long as you want to. They have little puff pastries and stuff like that. But just a lovely place to hang out by the ocean side. No pretensions, simple place. And the other thing that really struck me about Pondi was if you go into that town, there is one nala kind of thing. And on one side of the nala, the natives stayed. And on the other side of the nala, you have all of these beautiful French, these, what do you call them, mansions, or their
Colonial mansions.
Colonial mansions, along their rue this street and rue that street and so on. And it's such a clear divide that on one side of this nala, you have the natives and, they have chota, low-rise homes, that kind of stuff. And on the other side, you have these large French windows and bay windows and, these lovely, beautiful yellow-colored mansions with lovely greenery all around them. It's a very striking division in that city.
Yeah, like it is in Delhi and Bombay and Bangalore these days. Yeah, I know that. Fancy plush colonies on one side, and then you have villages right across the road on the other side. We've always been a bunch of classes people in this country. But Pondicherry has that beautiful feeling of timelessness. The cobbled streets, the old colonial architecture, the massive buildings, the bougainvilleas, the beautiful plants. It just sort of transports you back into time, into a much slower, more relaxed era. And that's why Pondi is such a good place to go to.
And it's a great walking place.
Yeah. Exactly. Wonderful place to unwind.
Yeah. The promenade, especially if you remember me and Ajay, for those of you who don't know, Ajay was the senior cameraman or DOP on a large number of the Highway on My Plate shoots, and he was also my early morning walking partner. Because just to walk on that promenade, and then I could stop and have my little cup of coffee. And then at one end of the promenade, I think they either had a Murugan or they had another a place where you could go for idlis and dosas. And also in the mornings we would walk. We'd get our coffee, we'd get our breakfast, and we'd get our walk out there. Tons and tons of people walking there. It's a very integral part of the culture there. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I remember your morning walks. Yeah, they were a real pleasure because, Mayur used to set his alarm for 5 o'clock and it would go off and then he would go back to sleep. Then Ajay would come at 5:20. Then he would bang on the door. Then I'd have to wake up again the second time around. After putting his alarm off, I'd have to go and open the door for him. Then he would go back to sleep again. Then Ajay would bang the door again. So I would be thoroughly awake at 5 o'clock in the morning. Mayur, though, on the other hand, would be nice and sleepy by the end of it. So curses to them and their fitness.
You guys must go to Pondi, check it out. It has some beautiful restaurants, the walls, just the decor is really nice. It's a great walking place. From there, I'd like to move into the hills. Tamil Nadu is one state in the south that has hill stations like Ooty and Kodaikanal. Let's go to Kodaikanal first, because at that time, one of the shoots that we did, my sister was actually teaching in a school there, and my niece and nephew were there. So I remember walking all over with my niece on my back, and she was so thrilled that we'd come and we shot at a school, and everyone was excited. Rocky and Mayur have come here and we were shooting there. It was one of my most memorable and favorite shoots. And Kodi has some phenomenal restaurants. It's such a small place. It's as big as half a colony of Delhi, at least the main market of Kodi. And it is packed with restaurants and little eateries and bakeries, which I'm sure these gentlemen will tell you about.
Yeah, but just very quickly, the Sholay school, I think, was a revelation in itself. Brian Jenkins, I think, was the name of the gentleman who started that school. And now it's considered, just a lot of modern day schooling involves a lot of extracurricular activities and trying to get the kids into doing stuff just besides music and drama and sports. But Sholay, I think, was the first place where we saw where like the kids were actually growing their own food.
Yeah, making cheeses.
They were making cheese. They were if they misbehaved and stuff, their punishment would be they would go and help Mr. Jenkins take apart this antique car he had and put it back together.
Yeah,
they were learning mechanics.
And they were learning farming. They were learning everything. It was fantastic. Right. And now they're doing a lot of other schools.
Interesting man. He said we were all neurotic. He told us, he said, you and the crew, you're all neurotic. But besides that, he let us in and spend the day with all the kids and eat there. And it was fantastic here.
Yeah. And but what about the eateries there? We had all sorts of food.
I just want to say that he only met us for one day, so he thought we were neurotic. By the second day, he would have realized we were also psychotic, and by the third day, he would have realized we were schizophrenic, and then he would have really gotten to know us. But we were always shooting in a hurry, so we were moving.
He would have got to know all 8 of us.
Yeah.
And that's only me.
But I love the pastries. That's true for all these hill stations. Yeah, the pastries and puffs and the cream rolls are just, they don't taste oily like the ones that do here when you just buy them off the street.
No, because they were baking them fresh. They're very small bakeries. And off the top of my head, I can remember something called the Pastry Corner, where they had these homemade ice cream and they had all these really fresh breads, cakes, cookies. And then they had a pear and date cake. And it was like all sold out. Like I think within half an hour, it was like boom, 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 boom. You opened, it was all gone.
In the morning, by afternoon, it sold out. And then AB's kitchen was really nice. They had chaat and all sorts of other stuff. It was really good food.
I mean, none of it is fine dining or fantastic food, but it's like perfectly geared towards like a population that is very large, which is students from all the multiple schools that are there.
A lot of schools. Prashant, you were saying?
No, in fact, I wasn't there on that schedule when you went to Kodaikanal and Ooty and all those places. But I remember seeing that episode, and there was this lovely cafe that was run by a lady.
Yes,
where all the kids would come, right?
That's the
and
one.
she would give them healthy sort of, things like healthy pizza and things like that. Yeah,
that was Abby's son, I think, was called Abhishek, so that was named after him. Okay. And there are so many schools and so many kids there, and that's the lovely thing. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why even the pastries and all are so good, because because you just have this sort of explosion of school kids that get out on a particular day at a particular time. And then all the bakeries are catered for fresh food for them. So they're making it that very day. And by the time they're done, it's finished. So it's just so nice. I mean, everything is fresh. Everything is made in small batches. Attention is paid to detail. I mean, I remember we went into this hot breads place in Ooty, which was a really nice little sort of bakery. And, we got chicken rolls and patties and very typical what you would get in the old days. I mean, the most popular pastry there was still Black Forest and pineapple pastry, which was like, from the 50s, we've been having that here. So they're just sort of timeless. And then a lady came in and she said, I'd ordered a cake in the shape of a clown for my son's 10th birthday. And they'd made a special cake for the boy. And, so it was just really nice and quaint. And that's Kodi for you. Kodaikanal is like a really beautiful, easy place here. Just a really laid-back place.
And a lovely drive, by the way. And if you guys remember, while driving back, I don't know, for some reason, by the time we were heading down, it was night. And what are those big wild buffaloes called? You get a lot of them in that Kodaikanal area.
Gore.
God. Remember there was a god in the middle of the road, man. As we made a bend, it was like standing there, boom, bloody large as life, almost as large as a rhino. And I was like,
Isn't
and that's
Kadhai the
it.
place where you have chocolates also? Where
Chocolates.
Yes.
That
All
was
hill stations.
Or was it
Ooty.
Ooty?
The chocolates were Ooty, which had the sugar-free
Kadhai
chocolate.
also has. Kadhai is actually famous for three things, four things. One is schools. Second thing is magic mushrooms. It
Okay.
was and still remains a place where if you try hard enough, you can find the psychedelic mushrooms and sit down somewhere on a hill and watch pink lizards go by. And also chocolates. Kodaikanal was actually one of the first.
You're right. We did a full sequence of chocolates. All small towns. Everyone makes chocolate. So do go to Kodaikanal if you can. It's a really beautiful, small little hill station. I believe during peak season gets very crowded. But luckily, we never did go during peak season. Went at a time where you could still walk around. And it has a lovely market there in the middle. So yeah, I have wonderful memories of Kodaikanal. And the drive up and down to Kodi is beautiful. It is really a really wonderful drive.
The big thing about Kodaikanal, and I remember going there twice trying to get the date right, but we couldn't. It was the Neela Kurinji, the flowers, the purple flowers that come out once every 12 years.
12
and
years,
apparently the entire hills turned purple with these flowers here. And sadly, I think it was in 2006 and then 2018, as far as I know. I could be right or I could be wrong. But so the Neela Kurinji just sort of blooms once every 12 years and we missed it at all times here. But it's quite the sight and apparently the whole world comes down to see it. It's quite beautiful.
Mushrooms bhi nahi mile the.
Mushroom to मैंने बहुत खाए थे पहली बार. The first time I'd gone, somebody made me a milkshake and my friends got these fresh mushrooms from somebody and threw them into the milkshake and gave it to me. And I can tell you, for 3 hours, I was just staring at my hand and looking at how wonderful the colors changing on it was. It's like a 3D map of my hand with like, blueprints drawn with it with mathematical calculations. And it was quite stunning. So, those magic mushrooms, man, they're quite something. Don't try them if you're faint of heart. I have to recommend that only people who are strong of heart should try them. They're quite incredible. I may have had them more than once. I mean, I'm just saying, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember.
So since we are in the hills, let's just head to Ooty, which we had a fantastic shoot at another school there, the Lawrence School, Ooty, which actually has been used for several films, including that Amir Khan film, Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar.
Lawrence School, Lovedale, not Lawrence School Ooty, Lawrence School Lovedale.
Lawrence School Lovedale. And it has a fantastic hot breads bakery. And I bought kilos of sugar-free chocolate because by then, the last time we went there, diabetes had struck me. And I'm still convinced that sugar-free chocolate had sugar because my sugar levels went up after eating that. So tell us about that, Mayur. That was a lovely place.
Yeah, I don't remember much about the hot breads bakery, so one of you guys are going to have to dip into it. Even though I do know banned substances, my memory is a little patchy at times. So
actually, didn't have a sit-down place, hot breads. I mean, you could stand outside. We did a little sequence there, but we really loaded up our car with stuff from hot breads. We bought pastries, we bought all sorts of savories, we bought lots of chocolates, and we packed it inside. You can't really sit there. And Ooty has other places, the wood fire oven that,
Yeah, the sidewalk cafe, that was really nice. It was a chilly evening. I remember we wandered in there. They had this wood fire oven, so the whole place was really cozy and nice. Right till late, they had that little pizza bar and then they were doing lots of local things. They had a Chettinad pizza and a Nilgiri pizza. And I think more than the food, it was just that feeling of being in the hills and being in a warm, cozy place. And he had a little view. You could watch people out on the street going by. And,
it's a lovely hill station, no doubt about it. Both these Ooty, which is called Utakamandalam, and Kodaikanal are lovely hill stations. I highly recommend you go there. And both are beautiful drives. Please do check them out.
Just very quickly, I'm trying to remember, we shot a sequence. It was either on the way to Kadhai or on the way to Ooty, where there were these sharp hairpin turns. And suddenly the trucks and all would appear and we placed the camera and we said, look what's going to happen. And Rocky and I came down something. We jumped off and we ran towards the camera.
Yes. And you
he
couldn't
was
stop
positioned
yourself.
on the edge of the cliff and we couldn't stop. We were in our,
I remember.
We were in our vesties. And we almost took out the camera and the guy and went down the mountain.
Yes, I remember that very well. All of a sudden, the truck vanished and you guys decided to surprise us. And you galloped towards the camera, but you realized you couldn't stop yourself. And you went boom. That's a miracle all of us didn't go over the cliff.
No, we didn't.
I remember that very clearly because that was the heaviest I was ever on That was when I was at my heaviest. I think 104, 105 kilos at that time.
Yeah.
Ullu, big round face.
You can see the photographs. I'll put photographs of that face.
Yeah.
That was heaviest.
Yeah, and that's probably the lightest I've been for many years. So, put them up also. They can see my lean, mean face. But the sidewalk cafe is like that typical one restaurant, which is a little more well-to-do, little better turned out, little better organized, nice hot food. You get pizzas and you'll get really nice flavored, you'll get really nice noodles and you can have your milkshakes and cold coffees. And so it's like, it's a quintessential hill town hangout place for cool people. And I remember there's all the young boys and young girls who really wanted to sort of check out each other were all coming and hanging out over there. And it was really sweet to see, because that's what, we did when we were kids that age. We used to dress up in our best and hang out in Mussoorie at the cool places and wait to be seen.
Okay, so now let's head back to the plains. But before that, a couple of emails I'd like to include. This is from Vatsal. Vatsal says he's a long-time subscriber and fan of News Laundry. He's a PhD student based in Montreal studying biochemical neuroendocrinology. I've been consuming all sorts of excellent content put out by News Laundry, your ground reports, your NL Hafta and your YouTube videos, but he has never written to us. However, after listening to Highway on my podcast, I knew I had to. Homp was undoubtedly one of my favorite shows ever to be aired. I've always been a fan of food and travel shows, but despite a rich culture, food and history, there was a serious dearth of such Indian TV shows. So thank you for making Homp. Thank you for opening eyes to such a diversity of food, and thank you for bringing India to us. I'm excited to hear that Homp might make a comeback. I really hope it does. I'm ready to support you guys in any way I can. I miss Rocky's unbeatable humor and Mayur's vegetarian choices, because he's a vegetarian too. If you guys don't mind, would you like sharing your favorite food and travel related TV shows, except Homp, obviously? Thanks for your time. Keep up the great work. Any idea where I can watch season 1 of Homp? Well, I don't know about that, but first, gentlemen, you want to answer Vatsal? First of all, Vatsal, thanks for your love. Thanks for your support. We will keep you posted. We will get this community together and we'll tell you how we will make getting Rocky and Mayur back on the highway happen. But regarding his questions, gentlemen, your favorite show other than Homp?
It's fantastic. Yeah, I'm so happy Vatsal wrote in, because people should realize that most of our viewers are just highly intelligent, good-looking people from all over the world. And, like Vatsal, most of them are neurocalifragilistic, agnoexpeditious people who are...
Right now, Vatsal is, both of you have mangled his degree. He's taken his pituitary in his hand and he's squishing it. He's like, die, pituitary, die. There is no respect for endocrines anymore.
Listen, don't be jealous just because he's educated and we are not. Okay? Never hold that against people. But listen, thank you. Yeah, it really makes our day when you write in stuff like that. And thank you very much. Mayur, your favorite TV show? Do you have one on food or maybe otherwise? I mean, Niku, does it have to be about food or just about anything?
No, he just travel food. Yeah, I mean, or just go. Yeah, it's not an exam.
I would have preferred if it was an exam, because at least you would have had A, B, C, and all of the above. Here you have to come up with something all by yourself.
Well, I liked Anthony Bourdain. Yeah. He was just absolutely brilliant, and No Reservations was the show that really sort of appealed to me. It really got me, and the reason why was because he was just the kind of guy who would get what people were telling him. I mean, he understood culture so well by the end of all his travels. He respected all cultures. He wasn't disrespectful in any way, and yet he was able to enjoy himself. I mean, I remember one episode where he sort of went to, I think it was, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he was in Cuba, and he managed to get a boxer and get into the ring and box with him. And it was just so beautifully done. And I mean, every time he just came out with really stuff that touched your heart. So I think that's sort of my inspiration. My inspiration to do television is always that you should be able to reach out. You should be able to touch people. You should be able to connect with them. You should be able to make a sort of bond with your viewers and yourself. And I think we managed to do that with Highway on My Plate and most of our shows. And that's very important for me always. Mayur, don't make any jokes about touching people.
Prashant, what's your favorite show?
Of course, Anthony Bourdain is an all-time favorite. And I remember one particular episode when he went to Lebanon to do an episode, and the war started there. And he just changed tracks. I mean, it was really... He was just a remarkable guy, because he really tried to get into the culture of the place that he he went to, like he visited Laos, and then he brought the reality to the American audience, because this is an American show, right? And he talks about sitting with this guy who lost his legs during the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Talks about how many bombs, like Laos was the most bombed, or was it Cambodia? I think one of those countries. Cambodia was the most bombed. Even more bombs fell on Cambodia than even on Vietnam. And he's just talking so nicely to him and so patiently with him, and he's really moved by that experience, that this fellow is just sitting next to him, an American, the country that took his legs and his life away, and talking so nicely and being hospitable. So he was really respectful of the cultures that he went into, and he really wanted to experience it just the way it was, without any sort of intermediaries.
It's so nice. Prashant is a really cheerful kind of guy always. It brightens my day.
And Mayur, what's your favorite?
Me, probably of the few that I've watched, I would say any of Anthony Bourdain shows, for all the reasons that the boys have mentioned. In the new thing, I've just been reading about it. I haven't seen it yet. Apparently, there's a travel show called The Dark Tourist on Netflix, or one of these things. Is about a guy who goes and does this thing, but he's not going to all the bucket list places. He's trying to find like nuclear lakes, haunted forests, abandoned islands.
Something like that.
8 episodes. I haven't seen it, but I've heard that might be interesting.
Well, I just have 2 quick ones. My favorite travel show was called The Lonely Planet, and specifically the one that was anchored by this American girl. I think she was of Indian origin, who was really beautiful, and I had the biggest.
It was Maya something.
Maya. I remember I was probably 19, 20 or 21 when I used to watch that show. She was so beautiful, and she had this bronze complexion, and she used to host The Lonely Planet. And my favorite food show is by Sanjeev. What is that chef? Food. He has his channel also. What's that chef's name? Yeah.
Khana Khazana by Sanjeev Kapoor.
Sanjeev Kapoor had a show called Jhatpat Snacks or something, where he'd say, अब बताइए, आप घर बैठे हैं और मेहमान आ गए, अब झटपट क्या पेश करें? आप अपना फ्रिज खोलिए, आपके पास कटे हुए ऑलिव्स का ऑयल, फ्रेश स्क्वीज तो पड़ा ही होगा, साथ में ही चेरी टमेटोज के छोटे छोटे ड्राइड तो पड़े ही होंगे, और ये चीज, गोरमे चीज, व्हाटएवर गोडा, ये तो पड़ी होती है ग्रेटेड, इसको करके. I was like, whose fridge has all this shit? What are these jhatpat snacks? I mean, if I had all this in my fridge, I don't give a shit if guests come. So me and my friend Govind used to keep exchanging notes. Did you see jhatpat snacks? How many of those things you have in your fridge?
My favorite phrase on this Indian food show television is namak swad anusar. Like, what else would it be? Like,
listen, guys, be respectful. You're talking to a gentleman who's like a Padma Shri. The whole nation is.
No, that's fine.
For his contributions to food, okay?
That was a fun thing.
We respect him a lot. In fact, Rocky and I, ever since he's got the Padma Shri, we call him Padma Ji.
Yeah, but listen, with all due respect, Sanjeev is a really nice guy, and he is the one who sort of blazed these trails for all of us. Yeah. He did these shows in the 90s. Unless he did what he did, none of us would have had a job right now. Yeah. We would have been laughing over some other show that we had made about some other subject and not food.
He pioneered this whole food television movement in India.
Yeah. और अगर आपके घर में fresh paneer पड़ा हो, तो उसको मसाला paneer बनाने के लिए उस पे आप
पाइनियर बटर मसाला
लाल मिर्च लगा के तंदूर में पकाए उसे, और नमक स्वाद अनुसार.
टर्किश मशरूम्स तो पड़े हो गए, आप फ्रिज खोलिए, सबके फ्रिज में टर्किश मशरूम तो पड़े ही होते हैं, तो उनको
अच्छा, इंसिडेंटली
अगर पड़े नहीं है तो फ्रिज के पीछे देखिए, जहाँ पानी गिराया था पिछले महीने, वहां उग रहे होंगे.
और ध्यान से, क्योंकि अगर ये कोडाई कनाल से अगर आप कोडाई कनाल के पास रहते हैं, तो ये मशरूम थोड़ा ध्यान से अपने ऑमलेट में डालिए, क्योंकि उसके बाद अगर आपको ऐसा लगे कि ऑमलेट से मुर्गी निकल के उड़ रही है आपके टेबल पे, तो आपको मालूम है कि आपने गलत वाले मशरूम खाए.
हाँ, और लॉकडाउन के टाइम पे खास ध्यान रखिए, क्योंकि फ्लाइंग अलाउड नहीं है. फ्लाइंग बिल्कुल शट डाउन है. अगर आप उड़ते हुए नजर आए तमिलनाडु के बॉर्डर के ऊपर से, तो आपको एक गन से गोली मार के गिराया जा सकता है, स्वाद अनुसार.
Okay, boys, let's get to Madurai. There's the Amma Mess. Let's chicken. Oh my God.
Actually, before we got to the Amma Mess, we met the real Amma of them all. Do you remember when we first drove into Madurai? We passed this temple which had this very large idol of the goddess Kali.
Yeah.
Green
Yes.
idol, and we stood outside there and we did this whole opening sequence.
Yes. The photographs will be there in the newsletter. We have lovely photographs of this.
Yeah, and then we went on to the Amma Mess, and along the way we came to this circle where we had all these giant cutouts of Aragiri.
Aragiri, yeah.
Seriously, man, this is something that's always foxed me. I mean, like this whole ZH, how it becomes a R in Tamil Nadu. Niku, what's the story? You must ask your mom. For all of you that don't know, whenever we, and this was when we first started traveling, we didn't have such easy access to Google Baba to ask all these things. So if we ever had any disagreement or anything we needed to know about any subject under the sun, from astronomy to deep sea cave diving or mining to 9-legged arthropods, we would tell Niku to call up his mom. We used to call her Encyclopedia, Mommypedia we used to call her.
Mommypedia, correct.
And she would have an answer to this. So you should ask her what this whole story about the Aragiri and Kodumbu is.
I shall ask her. In fact, she has a degree in linguistics as well. She's a third generation teacher from a family of Tamil teachers. So yeah, I don't know.
What happened to you?
I don't know, meets me. She married a Punjabi. She's a putar. Hey, Madrasiyan nu tu le pille ke le chal rahe.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, you know, Niku, but I must say, your intellect is like your mother's, and your Punjabi side is like your father's. So you cover the whole spectrum from 0 to 180 degrees on a straight curve, or from 180 to 0, whichever you look at it. Because I mean, depending on which state you're in, if you're in Punjab, obviously they'll tell you that the Punjabis are the smartest people on the planet. If you're in Tamil Nadu, they'll tell you the Tamils are the smartest people on the planet. But if you go by sheer numbers and spread and growth, I think the Punjabis take the cake because they're everywhere now. So, you know, you're just lucky that you can fit in anywhere.
Yes, lucky me. But yeah, so Mayur, you were saying other than, so after that we went straight to Amma Mess, did we?
Yes, we did.
And how was the food there? Remind me, because I don't remember the Amma Mess.
When we reached there, I remember it wasn't even open.
Yeah.
That's
The eager beavers, we just landed up there and they
cool.
said, wait. Meal time will start.
Wait, how long?
The stories behind the Amma messes, and they were everywhere. You know, there were routes along which armies and soldiers used to march frequently, or cantonments where they lived. And because they missed food at home, they would go out to these messes where these ammas would cook. And the ammas would, you know, wear their best saris and beautiful jewelry and dress up really well. And they would cook very typical home-style food. And that's where these amma messes became really, really popular. So Amma Mess in Madurai is just one of those incredible places. Again, you know, in the last 10 years, food has really changed. But when we went there, the food was old. It was like old-fashioned food. The Amma was in the kitchen. I remember she was wearing a beautiful golden and red sari, and she was cooking the food, and there were about 10 guys helping her out. She was clearly the boss.
Yeah.
And what great food they put out here. Unbelievable.
Fantastic. Absolutely.
Yeah, that place, we went there specifically because they were known for their bone marrow omelette. And then they had this really spicy chicken kalikattu.
What is a bone marrow omelette, man?
She made a bone marrow omelette for Rocky. They basically boil the mutton bones and then they get the marrow out and they mix it with this whole mix of spices which only the women members of the family have. So Rocky had the bone marrow omelette. He had rabbit roast. He had what he declared were the best. I remember because we made jokes about it later, not on the show, but he said they were the best balls he'd ever had.
Yeah.
They were like really soft and really delicate and really chewy.
Yeah, you're right. And we had brain curry also.
You had Rocky's balls also at that time.
Brain curry.
Brain curry. No, I remember the rabbit roast, and I remember I said I didn't like it much because as a child I remember enjoying rabbit, and I haven't had rabbit since. And here I didn't like the smell. Clearly I've lost the touch. But,
but you were never a great fan. You were never a great fan of fast food, so you may not like rabbits.
But I don't remember this omelette. It sounds gross. Was it any good, Rocks?
What? Of course, it was brilliant. It was like a nulli omelette. It was like they took marrow out and they put it into eggs and they beat it with a whole range of spices and they cooked it. It was such a beautiful omelette. Incredible. And I really love marrow. So it was perfect for me. But the chicken kalikattu is what I remember also. It was brilliant. And get this. I sent, a friend of my, one of my friends, her mother and her aunt were going to Madurai. And I said, you have to go there. And these people are like the kinds who sort of eat at, really fancy places all over the place. And they went down to the Amma Mess about 5 years ago. And I remember her calling me from there and raving about how good the food was and how blown away they were. And she'd carried a copy of our book and showed it to the owner, who was so happy. to see his place featured in the book. They had a great meal there.
Oh, nice. I thought you were going to say they never spoke to you again.
For that, not for this reason. This was the reason why they spoke to me for another month after that, but then they stopped.
I mean, you have to go to these places for the food. I mean, not for the ambience.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's
And
like
everybody goes there for that because remember they had this whole wall with all the celebrities who've been there, all the famous politicians. Rajnikant, Thalaivar has been there multiple times. In fact, that was another thing. Like UP, Tamil Nadu is also a place where the provenance of a restaurant is also decided by how many famous actors and politicians go there. We had a bunch of places. We had that modern restaurant, which is also in Madurai. We sat with the gentleman who was I think second generation owner, and then they had 3 or 4 people standing managed. They just pure vegetarian place. They did 2 types of thalis, and he said and we laughed a lot because we said who are all the famous people. So he said Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru used to come here, and Indira Gandhi used to come here, Rajiv Gandhi. And also notable people, notable personalities like AJP, Abdul Kalam Azad, and CV Raman, notable personalities. So first he named all the politicians, and he said, and also notable personalities.
Add-ons.
CV Raman was just notable.
But I will say, boys, they are being very humble and cutesy. There have been places that we have featured where the first time we went, that time no one maybe knew about the show. It was our first or second schedule. They came in. They said, theek hai, shoot kar lo. They were nice. Everyone has been nice to us, but, like regularly. And from the second or third or fourth time we would go by that place and stop, suddenly we would see posters of Rocky and Mayur outside that Rocky and Mayur ate here. And then when we would get there, we would be treated like kings. Sir, since you came na yahan, because at that time no one knew the show. By the time last time I went there, everybody knew the show. So other than CV Raman, Thalaiva, Rajiv Gandhi, there was also Rocky and Mayur's photograph in many of these dhabas that I went. And often I used to go stand there, and as I was standing at the counter paying, and guys, we always made it a point to pay. There was that one exception that we spoke about where this guy said, if you want to pay me, you can't eat here.
Yeah.
The ghee dosa guy. But so I was standing there, and at the counter, suddenly he had photographs of Sanjay Dutt and this, that. And I see, ye to familiar lagta hai. And there was Rocky and Mayur standing with that guy. He said, sir, inka bhi photo laga diya. Sir, maine sab star ka photo
Arey, the photo is nothing. There is a restaurant now when you drive from Kullu to Manali. Yeah. There is a trout restaurant that we went to. The name of the restaurant now is Highway on My Plate, Rocky and Mayur Restaurant. And a big photo, a board, a hoarding of Mayur and me is put outside over there.
Oh, is this where you ate the trout with your feet in the river?
Yes.
And now they made a full proper restaurant out of it with the board outside. This time when we went, we called the guy. We stood next to him and took photographs. He was dying. He was like, they're going to kill me. He's like, sir, mere ko nahi malum tha. And they're like, no, it's okay. We even told him, we said, legally you're okay now because there is no NDTV good time. Nobody can do you.
You said, हमें तो कुछ नहीं चाहिए. हम चाहते हैं जब निक्कू भैया की शादी हो, अब बारातियों का स्वागत पान पराग से.
Trout se kare, not pan parag, silly boy. No, that's one. But I've seen a whole lot of restaurants. I mean, there are a whole bunch, and I'll be sounding immodest if I start talking about it. But there are a whole bunch of restaurants that have large photos or cutouts of Mayur and me. I mean, from Macleodganj to Kanyakumari to Tamil Nadu to Kerala to Punjab to Haryana, there are places which have big photos of us displayed.
I'm a bit nervous about having my cutouts in Haryana, but
but we've got to wind up after one more story, and I know we haven't even touched many of the places. And like I said, we'll come back to those. Keep your parting stories ready, even if it is to tease what we will do when we come back to Tamil Nadu. Okay. I just want to go over these quick emails because someone has taken the pains to write these, and these are really sweet. This is Prabjot again. I'm born and brought up in Babina near Jhansi, though I now live in Sydney, but I'm in Jhansi every year. I'm writing after listening to your Madhya Pradesh episode. Orsha is amazing. Please see attached pics from the beautiful Orsha and some from Babina. There is a beautiful dam on Betwa River and farmhouse in the area. On the side of Bundelkhand, including Jhansi, has quite interesting food. Like other places, chaat, dal, bati. Also Bundelkhandi cuisine, like meat cooked in khade masale, has become quite a thing in the last 10 years. Also, my couplet from Jhansi based on experience in neighboring cities, towns. Jhansi gale ki fansi, datiya gale ka har. Lalitpur na chhodiye, jab tak mile udhar. Love, Prabjot. Thanks, Prabjot. Thanks for pictures. We saw your pictures.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful images, especially the one of the lady with that giant threshing machine.
Yeah.
The last picture, and then one of a dam. Gorgeous picture.
I hope you're safe and taking care of yourself in Australia. And I hope when we do get out on the road again and we are back, you are in Jhansi. So when we pass through, you can come and hang with us. And finally, Ashok Vasudevan writes, I'm originally from Bangalore and relocated to Munich 5 years ago. Firstly, thank you for bringing back my 20s. I'm a huge fan of Highway on a Plate and I've seen all the episodes and also the retelecast multiple times. I'm obsessed over the show and fantasize replacing Mayur because I will be a non-veg Mayur on it. I'm also a regular reader of Newslaundry and a fan of Abhinandan through that connection. I was pleasantly surprised to know that he is the director of Home. Your life changes when all your favorite people and favorite things like travel and food and news come together. I'm now obsessed with the Highway on my podcast. It's the best COVID-19 lockdown gift I could hope for. I have tortured all my friends and family to listen to it. When I listened to the first episode in which you covered my home state and home city, I reminisced, I may have mispronounced this word, I'm sorry. I reminisced over my growing up years. Koshi's has been my adda, and it's one of the few things that has been a constant in a city that has burst beyond its seams. Did you also go to the airlines hotel? If not, it's an experience to try next time.
Yeah.
My favorite of the podcast series is episode 9 on Jammu and Kashmir. It brought back memories of my 18-day biking expedition of Delhi, Amritsar, Ludhiana, Pathankot, Jammu, Srinagar, Kargil, Leh, Manali, Chandigarh, Delhi in 2015. It's been my best trip ever. You can read about it on my Facebook. He sent links. Bro, we will read this for sure. Yeah. By the way, this is from Ashok Vasudevan. He has a suggestion that we should try in Karnataka. There's an innovative and super tasty version of Pani Puri created by someone in Bangarpet, a town in Kolar district. The speciality of this Pani Puri is that it is transparent. And the filling in the puri is an interesting smashed peas gravy. It's super tasty, spicy, and you can eat a lot of it. And they have other interesting dishes on the menu like Nipat Masala, 3-in-1 and all. Love you guys. Want to say bye with a request. Please find a way to stream all of Highway on a Plate on Netflix, Amazon Prime, any other channel. My best friend, also the Rocky in our relationship, Karthik, who lives in Bangalore, has been taking short videos while watching Home on Amazon Prime India and sharing it with me on WhatsApp. I feel like killing him, but I'm not so evil. Stay safe, stay healthy, Ashok. Thanks, Ashok. Thank you for the lovely email. Forget getting that on Amazon Prime or Netflix, man. We will get the real deal once we are back on like no other. And we'll have it all on all of you hompers who have created a community when we get this back on the road. Gentlemen.
Inshallah.
Yeah, I'm touched. Yeah, really, man. I mean, the outpouring of love is so great. I mean, I really didn't expect people to remember the show from so long. I mean, it's come back on air after about 3 years again, but they're playing the repeats. But just really sweet here. Thank you so much, man, Ashok, for writing in. And I just love reading your emails, all of you here. I have a tear in my eye. Please excuse me. I'll just come back.
Okay.
I'm just kidding, man. But listen, thanks, Ashok. Really appreciate it, man. Keep writing the mails, guys. If you're listening to this, send in your mails. We love reading them.
It's really humbling, actually, to read these emails. And I mean, the outpouring of love and affection that you guys have in the emails, it's so humbling. Yeah. I mean, when we were making that show, I don't think so any of us had an idea that it would outlast, more than the season that we were shooting.
Yeah, I don't think we had any ideas at all.
We didn't have any
very few ideas.
We were just out for a lark. But I think that integrity, that spontaneity shows through that show, and which is why it still stays with people.
I'll answer why I think it's important. This is also my closing bit, Niku, so don't worry. Give me a minute. I think it's so important that when somebody comes to your city or comes to visit you from, let's say, another country or from an area which he's really not familiar with your city or state, and you realize and you decide what kind of places you want to take him to eat really good food, take him to a place that represents your culture. And that's, I think, what Highway on My Plate did. For the first time in the history of India, we represented people's food culture sincerely. We went down to the places that were popular with the common man, that were popular with the mainstream, that really represented the culture and the sort of history of each place. And we went and we tried the places where people don't really go, people who spend their times in fancy restaurants and 5-star hotels and all, and there's nothing wrong with that. But these people don't go to these places. So this is, I think, the biggest contribution of Highway on My Plate is that it brought the real food of India into the mainstream and made Indians realize there was such a huge wealth and treasure of food available within the country that you don't really have to go out anywhere for the rest of your life. Even if you keep traveling to different states of India and keep trying the food, you can spend a lifetime and not even get close to finishing it. And for me, I mean, even for myself, and I speak for Mayur as well on this one, for both of us, it was such a revelation. In English, में बोल रहा हूँ यार, बोलने देना, हाँ हाँ करते रहा कर बस. it was such a revelation to just sort of experience and sort of get acquainted to food that one has never seen or heard of before. And we loved it. And I think that's the reason why you guys like it too, because it was just such incredible food and, such good looking guys presenting it. That's it.
Mayur?
Two things. Number one, we sort of forgot that Madurai, we'd had a chat, and then at modern restaurant, this gentleman told us that in the olden days, it was Madurai's name was Tunganagaram, the city that never sleeps. So long before New York and Hong Kong and Singapore and all, Madurai was Tunganagaram, the city that never sleeps. And the breakfast we had there, I've written the name here because
Acha, you've gone into the meal. You're not reacting to the mail yet.
No, I haven't. What mail? Which mail? Who are you, madam?
No. Okay, so to complete that thought, please go ahead.
He's always reacted to females better than males.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, carry on, Mayur.
It was the Hotel Sri Sabaris. Very simple looking place. Outside, they had that guy with the big muchi who was doing that frothy coffee. Really delicious frothy coffee. And inside we had that giant rocket dosa, which looked like a Mexican sombrero with a little bit of the crisp put on top. And we had those idlis. And if there was any place there that matched Murugan idli breakfast, I think that Sri Sabari's is right up there.
The coffee was
fantastic. That food
fantastic.
And the coffee was food.
It was just down from our hotel, just a little walk from the hotel.
So before I go back, each of you will please give me one experience from all our trips to Tamil Nadu. Just want to react to that mail. Man, thank you so much. We will get out there. We'll make this show again. But what Rocky was talking about, I was never an enthusiastic flyer ever in my life. Also, I wasn't really excited about this show because of food, because as you may have figured, those of you listening to it by now, I don't really care much about food. But I love driving, and I love driving with friends. So road trips are my favorite. And the many shows that we've done together has been the ultimate road trip. We have been to every place in this beautiful country on the road, and just the number of photographs we have of just roads. I was going through that library of stuff. We have like some 5,000 pictures. Each time I say that let's get pictures for the bloody newsletter, there are bloody hundreds of pictures. I say, kya dalen, kya na dalen, yaar. So, and there's so many of us just sleeping. Mayur pada hua hai piche, Rocky pada hua hai piche, main pada hua hu aage. There's such amazing. So, I will not miss flying even post-COVID world. The first thing that happens when this goes off, I'm not getting on a flight and going to France or anywhere else. I'm fucking getting in my car, taking the kids, all my friends, and heading to the hills. Yeah, because there's nothing like a road trip with friends. It's the most beautiful thing. And not just from what you see. I mean, you learn so much about people, about places, about cultures, about just the natural beauty and man-made beauty. You get to discover yourself also. Yeah, I think road trips are beautiful. So yeah, that's my piece. So guys, tell us about, and again, we've missed a lot of stuff from Tamil Nadu. We will come back to Tamil Nadu like we will to many other places. But right now we have to leave you with one story each, boys.
Can I just add to this one bit, Niku? Because I think that's a very important point you made. Rocky has also spoken about this multiple times, that as soon as the lockdown's over, he's going to get into his car and drive east till he gets to Kolkata. And I suspect a lot of people are going to be doing this. They're going to want to drive. Anyways, people are going to be nervous, and I think we're going to see a lot of road journeys. So we should think of something to harness the power, like with this community, what we're doing, where we're talking about how we want people to share our journeys and stuff. We should either start a photo contest or tagging some
maybe
stuff.
We should do a road trip. Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah, because a lot of people are going to want to do that, and I think this is a great opportunity. Maybe people can go and take a photograph of themselves at one of the places we shot at. And send it to us. So I don't know what form it'll take, but let's evolve this conversation.
I think that's a good idea. So let's start with you, Rocky. Tell us your Tamil Nadu story, food, travel, or any other related before we head out.
There's always something that sticks out in your head when you think of a particular state. And for me, I think Tamil Nadu is sort of best described by the evenings of Tamil Nadu again. I'm going to say this, I just love it. There is there's something, there's a joy about the people of Tamil Nadu. I mean, they love music, they love their movies, they love their food, they love their drink. They're just happy, positive, good people, most of them. And every place has its share of idiots. So I'm not talking about those. I'm just talking about the really good, solid people here. And
we never talk about ourselves that much anyway.
That's the point. But when you're standing out on the street, just to see this sort of excitement, there's a buzz always, there's an energy always in Tamil Nadu. And what I love is that in the evening, all these ladies put those flowers in their hair, the jasmine and all the beautiful smelling flowers. And as they walk past, you get that smell there. And it's just so nice. You know, it just sort of, that's Tamil Nadu for me. I mean, if I had to close my eyes and think of a moment in tough time where I was in Tamil Nadu, it would just be, you know, with a whole bunch of happy, smiling people, music, the smell of flowers in the air, you know, some great food and some wonderful memories here. So thank you, Tamil Nadu. You're one of the states that I really like here. And the ones who I don't like, I've been saying it. You know, people have been accosting me on this all over social media and threatening me. But Tamil Nadu, I really like. So I'm very happy that we got to chat about Tamil Nadu. And I hope we complete it. I mean, we need another chat. It's not over yet.
Prashant?
No, it's not over yet. I mean, Tamil Nadu, the one thing that really sticks out in my head is like just the passion people have here. When they speak to you, they look you in the eye, you know, they talk passionately about their food or whatever you ask them about. You know, they're passionate about their food, about their actors, about their politics, even about war. I mean, like, you know, most bloody North Indians think that they are the best fighters in the world. They bloody put those in front of, you know, the Tamil fighters. If the Tamil guy comes in front of you, run, dude. You know, I mean, like, they will hack you down like nobody's business. And they just go into it 100%.
Yeah, the Sri Lankans found out about that for a long time.
Absolutely, man. I have total respect for the Tamils here. Total respect.
You're just saying that because the police beat you in Chennai. That's it.
No.
Not at all.
Mayur, you have anything more to say?
Yeah, every time I've gone there, one of my favorite bits is always that drive down the East Coast Road here to get from Chennai to Pondicherry. You know, and then you pass the...
And a lovely road it is, man. It's been a lovely road for a while.
Is it Mahabalipuram or what is it? The buried temples. I remember the first time we stopped, just that road, it's that feeling of tranquility. And in fact, it's changed so much in the last 10, 12 years. I remember the first time we drove down that road, you drove a little bit outside of Chennai and then it was quiet, desolate stretches. Now you have to drive for an hour before you can even get an empty patch of road. There's like
in fact, it's hardly an empty patch. I mean, you're just going from one city to the other through like suburbs. There's no empty patches. But guys, we haven't really done justice to many parts of Tamil Nadu. In fact, Chettinad was one of my favorite shoots. I loved the food there and the stunning Havelis and all, man, of Chettinad with those huge timber and stuff. We'll come back to all of that.
Yeah.
We promise. But I would like to mention the Tirunelveli halwa. There wasn't much in our research about Tirunelveli. But when I went out, I said, I can't go back home and show my face to my mother saying that I did a Tamil Nadu drive schedule. I did not go to her hometown. So we went to Tirunelveli, and as luck would have it, we were told there is a very famous halwa there, which is sold over here. And we saw the line starts forming even before the shop opens. Yeah. And finally, we did get to try that halwa. So I could come back and show my face to my family saying, all ye extended family members, I have been back home. I have tasted our halwa from our hometown. So that was very satisfying.
You do remember that the guy selling that and the family that made that was from Rajasthan, right?
Yeah.
Nico and your family must have given you blank looks. Halwa.
They must be like,
what halwa? I don't remember any halwa. But guys, before we give you the food court, just want to remind you, thank you for your support. Thank you for your love and your emails. Do mail homp2020@gmail.com with your food stories, your experiences. Become a part of this community that will make the highway home again when this lockdown lifts. Until it's there and you can't get to the highway, we will bring the highway to you. So do support us, give us a high ranking on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on, or write a favorable review. On that note, gentlemen, can I go first on the food court?
Go for it.
Tamil Nadu will be special, not just because it's my motherland, but it has Chettinad spices, P. Chidambaram, and an awesome Haveli. Mum, I did our motherland proud and did not come back without halwa from Tirunelveli.
Wow. Very good, very good. Well, whether it's from the mighty rocks of Dindigul or the beautiful architecture of Chettinadu, when you get down and eat the food, you will completely be blown away by Tamil Nadu.
Wow. Idlis, dosas, crabs, quails, the memories go on and on. Or not, depending on the mushrooms. We're not done with Tamil Nadu, but for now, we bid you adieu with chocolates and champignons. That's mushrooms in English.
That's mushrooms in English.
ये इसलिए पोएटिक लाइसेंस एक्सपायर हो चुका है तेरा मयूर. तेरे को चालान होना चाहिए, चालान. The police should चालान you for poetic license.
यार chocolate and shopping on and on, matching भी है, rhyming भी है.
I think from next time, Mayur, you will not do the food court. I'll step in.
अरे वाह.
Because if that is a food court, then even I can do it.
तो गालिब, अगली बार गालिब आएंगे महफिल में, तो अपने दिल को थाम के देवी जैसे तैयार हो जाइए, गालिब आने वाले हैं. So on that note, guys, if I'm taking the liberty of committing where we're going next, only because my nephew has got hooked onto the show ever since he heard me recording one of these podcast episodes. So I was watching this trout wala sequence. So let's go to Himachal Pradesh next.
Yeah.
Woohoo! That's another state I like.
Yes, that we and I have some wonderful ones. I love driving in the hills. And before we go, I want to remind you, this lockdown has impacted a lot of those less fortunate than us really, really severely and badly. Whatever town or city you live in, do try to contribute and help with whatever local organizations, collectives or NGOs are working to feed those stranded laborers or migrants who are stuck there. We have put together a story on newslaundry.com. It's called Helping Hand, how NGOs are trying to ease the suffering caused by the coronavirus lockdown. We have listed NGOs in Delhi, Gurgaon, Jaipur, Bombay, which are the other cities. And we're going to keep adding to this. Akshay Patra Foundation is working in many parts as well. So you can check out that story, and whichever city you're in, if you can contribute to any of these organizations working there, it will be great, because no one should starve to death, especially when so many of us in our country can help it. On that note, gentlemen, shall we say goodbye to come back with Himachal?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Goodbye.
Okay, Hari sir, if you're listening to Hari sir, I'm still not married, Hari sir. I shall be back and we shall drive again.
And we will find a nice boy this time from Tamil Nadu for Nico. All right, guys. Good night. Good chatting to you as always. Bye.
Good
Good
night.
night.
All the News Laundry podcasts are available on Stitcher, iTunes, and any other podcast platform.
Please subscribe to News Laundry. Help us keep news independent. To catch all our podcasts on news, pop culture, current affairs, and sport, visit newslaundry.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.